Welcome back. A landmark project for the Green Mountain State is underway as the Secretary of State develops Vermont's first ever civic health index. Joining us now is the Secretary herself, Sarah Copeland-Hanses. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So what will the civic health index measure?
So the Civic Health Index takes a lot of different data points from census data to some surveys that we're doing, brings it all together and helps us understand better how Vermonters are engaging in their communities. Civic health can be measured not only by are you voting, but do you help a neighbor, or do you volunteer for any local boards. And so when we look at the civic health of Vermont, we're hoping that we find a little more information about the places in Vermont where people are less able to be connected to their communities, and then maybe also the groups of people who may be less apt to be civically engaged.
And then how will you use the results? What's the goal with that?
Well, this will certainly be a roadmap for us for the coming years in how we focus our education and civic engagement activities. Up to this point, we have been convening groups of teachers to talk about collating materials that teachers can use in their classroom to teach civics to our young people. We've been tabling at fairs and festivals and farmers markets, reminding people how to vote and where to find their My Voter page and all of the information and resources that are available there. And when we have the Civic Health Index completed, then we will know which communities or which groups of people we need to focus on in the future.
And you mentioned, teachers engaging with youth briefly. How are you engaging Vermont's youth in this process?
So it has been really important to me that we spend some time thinking about and really talking with young people around Vermont. So in collaboration with the YMCA of Vermont, we sent out a survey to young people, and we got about 2,500 respondents from young people across the state of Vermont. And then recently we had a focus group from 5 or 6 different high schools across the state and showed them the results of this survey and, asked them to ground truth it. What are you seeing here that rings true with you? What would you like to add? And what do you think our takeaways should be in terms of how we engage youth? Vermonters talk all the time about how important it is to have Vermont be a place that's welcoming for our young people to stay or to come back to after they graduate from college or trade school. And I think a good way to really encourage that is to invite them to participate and invite them to share their ideas and their thoughts and their hopes for the future.
What's the timeline for getting this kind of survey, if you will, done? Like, when will you have something that you say, okay, here's our engagement level in the state and here's where we need to go?
Well, we're hoping to have the Civic Health Index done late summer or early fall, and then of course that falls right in the middle of a very busy election season. So I don't expect that we'll be taking this really on the road until probably after the November general election. But it certainly will give us an indication of where we should reach out to folks in the run-up to the general election, where we might want to concentrate our activities in terms of reminding people how to register to vote, reminding people to where they can find their voter guide, which will be on your My Voter page at mvp.vermont.gov, and making sure that folks are as educated and aware of how to vote as they can possibly be.
And is there any way people can engage with this right now, or is it something that you are seeking people out versus asking people to come to you?
So we have finished the data collection part of it, and the coalescing of the data is happening right now. And we certainly welcome folks to keep an ear out, because when we start taking this around to different communities, we certainly would love to hear people's reactions.
Secretary of State Sarah Copeland-Hanses, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.